All right, y'all. Greetings and salutations. Sorry about that. Hoping all is well with you. And man, FAMU Athletics is done it or is doing it again. And today we got a special guest. He's gonna come in a little bit later in the show. But today, in particular, we're gonna talk about the DBs that you may not have known, some of the ones you may be missing. Who are the guys that maybe need a little more attention. And we're also going to do the Alabama A&M preview and talk about really that matchup. That matchup is one of potentially my favorite games of the season just because of how things have changed for Alabama's A&M throughout the recruiting process and everything like that. But before we get started, FAMU did it again, literally immediately after I dropped the show on Thursday. I said I fully anticipated that offensive lineman from Rickers to transfer to FAMU, and I promise you, I did not get to even drop the podcast good before he had signed and he had committed, and it was like, yo, FAMU gets another one in the trenches, and it goes back to the point that Coach Willie Simmons was saying: you win games by running the ball, and it was imperative. It was mentioned that we didn't win the games where we threw the ball more than we passed the ball or where we really had to throw the ball. And that's not a slight against the quarterbacks. That's just showing that we were a little more controlled. And this is one of those games where we threw the ball a good amount, but Bishop Bonnet has that long run that really sealed the deal up there in Normal. I struggled not to say Huntsville because I grew up always being told it was Huntsville, and then finding out later on it's like, no, it's Normal, Alabama. But that is going to be an intriguing matchup. We're going to start off though talking about a couple DBs and who are some of the guys you're sleeping on. And again, supposed to have a special guest. We're going to have him chime in a little bit later, and hopefully have him talk about his relationship to Florida A&M University and his connections and some of the things he's got going on. Well, first one is Kamani King. Kamani King is number 4, and I'm gonna see. Y'all know last time, man, the internet was not acting right for me. I was trying to show y'all the huddle live and be a little fancy and things like that, and stuff don't want to act right in front of company. That's all I got. But let's see if we can share it up, and if we can pull up, because I would love for you to be able to see who these athletes look like. Maybe get a little insight. Like, oh, that's what he looks like. And Kamani King, he's number 4, 5'10", 175-pound junior. And he's transferred from Iowa State. And his film looked good. He played in 11 games, 22 solo tackles, 7 assists, 29 total. That's a 2.9 tackle per game average, 1 interception, and a fumble. And that's a guy you're going to want to keep your eye on. Uh, they don't have his bio up there, the picture on the website, but I'm gonna show the FAMU website anyway, just so you can see he's still there. But again, FAMU secondary is going to be really good. I have no doubt in my mind. That's not a point of arrogance or anything like that. That's just me stating that FAMU's offensive line is good. The defensive line is good. And the secondary as well is very talented. You're able to see here, again, Newport Richie, Florida, and a little bit of his information, a little bit of his bio. Feel free to check it out. Y'all know how FAMU does. But he's new. He transferred in, and he's looking to potentially be a big addition. Uh, let's see if I can pull up some of his film. That was completely unplanned as far as having that go in there. But again, another one of those talented guys. You see, he's 5'10", 175 pounds. I mean, he's not the tallest of corners, but he's also not short. As far as his cornerbacks go. Very few cornerbacks that you see are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and 6'5". I mean, you see some of the Xavier Rhodeses of the NFL that came out of Florida State that are like that, but for the most part, they're in that 5'9" to about 6'3" area. And then once you start getting bigger than that, they're more likely safeties. And that's gonna be a guy you're gonna want to keep your eye on because his Iowa State film was nasty as far as him tackling. and his ability to really make a play and make his presence known. That was one of the things that stood out to me. Just most importantly, as a person that was watching his information and like, yo, all right, this guy's coming in. How excited should I be about this? Because every time someone transfers in from the FBS doesn't mean that they're necessarily a better player. Sometimes it just means that they're looking for an opportunity. And I was excited when I saw him. I was like, okay, his film, he got that dog in him. He got that want to, and he's not afraid to make tackles, and he's not afraid to hit people. And I like that. I like that in the corner, especially because oof, when you have that little bit of what for to you, it makes a difference. And it just for me, it did a little bit of something when I was like, okay, that's a guy we're gonna get. He's gonna be an asset. And that was something that I think we are definitely gonna need in our secondary, especially going to that first game. That first game, it's going to be some questions being asked, and how are we going to be able to utilize his talents to get better? And again, this is a deep secondary. I mean, we're most people aren't even talking about it. Most people are like it's BJ Bowler, and it kind of stops there. But that secondary as a whole is loaded, and the safeties are very tall. In my opinion, they're fairly tall. So, I mean, you're talking quite a few guys that are above 6 feet there, and it's it's not safe for you if you if you're a receiver, because FAMU has the ability to not only put pressure on you, but they have the ability to throw bodies at you. And part of the benefit of having such a deep secondary means that if somebody's struggling, you can swap them out with somebody else. And I think that's a true benefit to the university as far as the athletic program, its versatility, and things of that nature. So that's going to be one of the guys that you're going to want to look out for, just because that dude might be a player. I'm just going to say it out loud. Don't be surprised if he is one of those dudes that you just looking over and a couple weeks later you're like, okay. Even if he is maybe in a nickel or one of the second or first corners, that's going to be a problem, y'all. Just to kind of be able to look over and see that guy there, like I think that's going to be a benefit to us as a university. Another guy, and again, FAMU was very active in the transfer portal, just like Alabama A&M was, especially on defense. As you can see on the offensive line, we just got local Tallahassee kid, but we just got another offensive lineman. And another one was Lamar Mullins. He's number 10 on the roster currently, 6'3", 205. So, yeah. He played at Georgia State as well as Tulsa, and 7 tackles, 8 assists, 15 total. That's not like, oh man, okay, he's not burning the world down, but what he is doing is showing you that with that size, he might be able to be a very valuable player. I believe he's listed as a safety. We'll double check. He's listed as defensive back. And Miami, Florida, 305, 6'3", 205. I love that size. And I was able to pull up some of his film really quickly. I do have it muted just in case there's some music or something like that. Because what we're not going to do is have to pay somebody some royalty fees for something I didn't get permission to do. But let's see if we can come over here to the share screen. And this is some film. The first one is him against Oklahoma State. If you're not familiar, Oklahoma State throws the ball a lot. They are not a team that is very shy about it. They did run the ball probably a bit more a couple years ago, but they're still Mike Gundy's offense is very pass heavy and things like that. And this is from his YouTube video. I believe this is from his channel. And so you're able to see he's highlight himself and kind of show you where he is on the play. And you can see like, okay, all right, make it a play. And then again, that's Big 12 high level offense as far as especially receivers, corners, and things like that, players in the secondary. And I think that's an asset FAMU's going to be able to take advantage of. Again, 6'3" safety with some size, has some experience. That's going to be a benefit to us, especially considering he's a graduate transfer, and that's just more competition in a very crowded safety room or safe secondary in general, but especially within the safety. So you can see willing to tackle. That's something that's needed. And in this game, they were overmatched. I mean, Oklahoma State going against Tulsa is not an even match. It's just not. I mean, one is in Conference USA, the other's in Big 12, but you're able to see that he was able to play, hold his own, and that's something you're going to need going forward. You're going to need to be able to have a person that wants to get in there and tackle. And as you continue to look at his film, and I paused, I took it off, but you're going to see that he's tackling, and that's something FAMU secondary is going to continue to need and be able to utilize. Can he come up and play a little bit of like that extra, like robber type player, anything like that? I wonder. And I'm not a defensive aficionado that's able to give you all of that. But I do ask that question, and whether I get an answer to it or not is it's fine. But I like that, and I do like that we see him tackling. I do kind of look over and be like, what was he looking like in coverage sometimes? And that's not me saying he can't cover. It's just saying a lot of his film showed him tackling and shows him tackling, and that's something though you're gonna need. You need a secondary that's willing to tackle, that's willing to go out there and put their heads into the play. I mean, if as a member of the secondary, you're not willing to make a tackle and you're only good for coverage, what can you do there for us? And I think he's pretty good. Again, seeing his film, he's also played against UCF or USF. You're able to see some of the film that he's got there as well. So those are two of the guys in the secondary you need to look for. Again, FAMU secondary is very deep. It is probably the second deepest portion of the football team as far as like the number of bodies that are able to get on the field. I would also say the receiving core is fairly deep, and that linebacking core, just because you can only get really three, sometimes at a max four linebackers on the field at one time. Oof, that's a lot. That's It's going to be hard to shift playing time between that many linebackers, and they're quality linebackers. They're not just a bunch of slouches. They're not just dudes that are just coming into FAMU with no experience. They're guys that are coming here that are they got a little something to them, and the secondary is going to be another one. Are they going to be able to benefit like they did last season? Because that was a huge thing for FAMU. Just you look at the amount of turnovers they were able to generate, largely because there was a great pass rush that was in front of them, and that's going to be interesting to see. Just because if you can produce that kind of havoc again this year, it's going to be a very good season for FAMU, and it also helped them as far as being able to do more things that are going to be able to allow them to be more aggressive. And being able to be an aggressive defense is going to be very important for FAMU. And it's going to be an exciting point on here that we see going forward. Now, the last one that you need to see, and I'm trying to see if I can pull up his film, y'all. I definitely see where some people have like reviewed his film. That's great. I'm not trying to really re-show their stuff because I don't want to steal their intellectual integrity. That's not fair to them. But one of the guys that we were able to get was Jordan Moore, and he previously attended Texas A&M and the University of Houston, and this is going to be his last season. But he's kind of a baller. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna move his film back a little bit, and this is actually a film that he had from when he had committed to Houston. But this guy, he his oof, his some of his junior college film, especially from when he first signed, scary. Like FAMU safeties, that's not the problem you may want as far as they can tackle. And this is him getting the interception. Nice one. Just good ball skills. And this is dated. This is dated by a little bit. It's close to when he was in high school, but still, you're able to see the talent there, and you're able to see that he's got ball skills. And how much has he retained is going to be interesting, but his stats are stupid. I'm just going to be honest. His stats from the community college were ridiculous, and that was one of the reasons he just stuck out to me because I almost asked, was anybody else on the team besides him? So Jordan Moore, he's number 20 on the roster this season, and I'm going to pause it so that hopefully you can get the great audio, but or video, but you can see Jordan Moore right there on the roster. And look at fam, y'all got a little technological on me. Good job. 5'11", 210 pounds. Yoko, Texas, V from Kilgore College. He listed as a junior, so I hope that's correct. I'm excited. I'm excited if he's listed as junior because 2 years of that guy being in the FAMU secondary is something I need. I'm just saying that that's something that a guy with that level of experience that would be able to come in would be a game changing player that could potentially also benefit you going towards the National Football League as far as getting players drafted. And that extra COVID year, stuff like that kind of comes into effect. But still, having a guy with that kind of talent is nice. Here's another film, and you can see he's got natural ball skills. He willing tackler and just really good dude. Like I'm very impressed with what I've seen, and I've seen other film of his as well. And y'all know I'm not a big film junkie. I'm breaking down people's film. That's not my big mo. But that is to kind of show y'all that it's out there. So if you do look for it, but his stats were stupid. He played in 10 games, and I don't know if this was just a typographical error or what, or if he's just a freaking tackling machine. But they list him as having 60 tackles in in 10 games solo. That's not with anybody else. That's not as a whole team. You can go on the website, and I kind of checked. I was like, nah, I don't believe this. This can't be right. One dude has 60 tackles. Okay. This I wonder if this like career wise, but when I checked and like double checked, it said 60 solo, 25 assists, 85 total. Did anybody else play? Because that's 8.5 tackles a game. Like that's crazy. Like how I'm just wondering, like, let me make sure my math is right. I might not have been mathing right, but still, that's a lot of tackles. And when you look back at his junior college film, it showed that he was all over the field. Like, I, I look, y'all can see me. I got the iPhone right here divided by 10. Yeah, 8.5. Okay, there we go. My math. I'm not a mathematician. I was a historian. But 8.5 tackles per game in 10 games? Like, what the heck is going on? That's crazy. Like that's a amount of stats that I mean, it you really it shouldn't be because he's literally all over the field. Like, and he's playing safety for a lot of the stuff. Safety, DB, corner. I believe I saw him playing safety. I want to say that I could be mistaken, but if I remember correctly, he was playing safety in the film I saw, and he's literally getting all over the field. Just consistently making tackles, making plays, and that bodes very well if you're a FAMU football fan and if you're a FAMU football team because all of a sudden your secondary is very experienced. They can tackle, and that's something last year you said about FAMU. They could tackle. Like FAMU probably was one of the better tackling teams at the FCS level. I have to slow down because I'm a fan of multiple teams. So, but at the FCS level, I think FAMU is a really good tackling team. I don't think we always saw that in that last game of the season, but just being honest, I really felt like FAMU was a really good tackling team, and we did well. It wasn't like, man, he just missed tackles. Nah, folks weren't doing a lot of throwing the shoulders. There was a lot of wrapping people up, folks getting to the ground. There was gang tackling going on. It just it made me proud as a fan and as as a FAMU and as a graduate, like looking over there, like, okay, they making tackles. All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. Like, and that is just some of the things that I personally thought that we did well, and I want to continue to see more of, just because that's going to go a long ways as far as helping us out. And I know I said three, y'all. I lied. There's another one. There's a fourth one, and he is Lovey Jenkins, another transfer student. Lovey Jenkins is listed as a junior. I told y'all, FAMU secondary is deep, and FAMU, especially at the safety position, they have really good safeties. A lot of them transferred in. I didn't even mention Sheldon Walker, and that's partially because I don't want y'all thinking I'm biased, and I am. I like Sheldon. I've known him since he was very, very small. Probably think Sheldon was elementary school, but I know him. So no, I know the family, good people. But Lovey Jenkins, safety, 6'1", 195, from the city beautiful Orlando, Florida, but attended Ocoee High School, and he transfers from Louisville. And whew, Lovey, I mean, Lovey's doing some great things in the community. Shout out to Lovey. If you did not see, there was a write up and a piece about some of the things he did, I believe, down in Polk County, which is not too far from Orlando. If you're in Orlando, the Ocoee area, it's about an hour, maybe 45 minutes away. And so sorry that I just got a message from our guest. And but that's great, man. Like, and again, 6'1", 195. That is awesome, man. And let's just letting the guy know he can start late. He can come on later. And I apologize. I know this ain't good, but I'm just letting him know. There we go. There we go. But again, Lovey Jenkins, 6'1", 195. And if you haven't been checking online, especially what some of the coaches are putting out there, you should definitely do it, man. Do yourself a favor and get excited, because it's cool. I'm sorry, it's just me. I'm one of those people. I don't get excited about recruiting that much until they're signed. If you ain't signed to FAMU, if you ain't committed to FAMU, I'm not getting excited about it. I'm happy that you come on a visit. I want you to have fun in Tallahassee. And for any recruit that comes out there, I'm going to on social media say, hey man, I really want you to have fun because I want you to have fun. I'm from Tallahassee. I'm a Tallahassee person. I when I'm home, I go to Tasty Pastry. I go to E&J five buck BBQ. Sometimes I make my way over to some of the other spots are in town. I go to Whataburger almost every time I'm home. Like, I'm from Tallahassee, y'all. So it's certain things that as a Tallahassee native, I have to do. Like, I'm gonna do it. I miss Donut Kingdom this time. I haven't gone to the little pita spot by Florida State. Like, I'm all over the city because I'm from Tallahassee. And when you're coming on a visit, I want you to enjoy it. And I get excited though about seeing the students that are at FAMU and the people when they commit, because man, these boys have been putting in work in the gym and they look different. Not saying that anything bad against the former players, but our strength and conditioning program has really taken a turn for the best, for the better. They've been there before. We've had really good strength and conditioning coaches in the past, but man, the coach we got now, he is a really good coach. He's really excitable. At the spring game, he was wearing the little FAMU neck chain, and it's exciting as just as a fan. Like, do yourself a favor and get excited by the work these guys are putting in, because man, they are built. You get to see dudes like BJ Bowler up there and they're posting their videos. You see Musa up there throwing the ball to the tight ends and the receivers. You also see McKay up there, and he's showing you that the leadership skills that he has, as far as just being like what I consider the heartbeat of the football team. He has his hands on the pulse of this football team. You get to see the running backs putting in work, especially the receivers are putting up some nice film. DBs, I want to see more. I'm not gonna lie. I see y'all in the gym, but I want to see a little bit more y'all in coverage. But allow yourself as a fan to enjoy this stuff. And it's on social media, it's on Twitter, it's on the FQ FAMU Twitter page. I retweet the stuff that they post. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a lot of it's not just original. It is this player put it out there. Hey y'all, Lovey Jenkins put out here that he's doing this, y'all. Let's show the kids some love, give them some likes, acknowledge them because our student athletes do get excited by the fact that you're watching them, you're paying them attention. They're just like anybody else. They want to be recognized for doing good things because if they were doing something stupid, you'd be up there talking greasy about them. But now that they're doing something good and positive, let's talk great about them. And Lovey Jenkins is one of those people that he was in the community, got a little bit of shine for it, and I'm glad to see it. And then Buddy went up there about a week or two later and showed off his works in the gym, and he's been hitting it hard. Like I ain't gonna lie, I'm going to the gym tomorrow because I was looking at the boys like, yeah, I got a little tubby myself, but these guys are putting in work, and FAMU secondary is going to be exciting. And as long as we can get some pressure from the defensive line, similar to what we did last year, it doesn't have to be the exact same. That's going to continue. And let's just be honest, FAMU secondary had a lot of turnovers. And as far as not turnover of talent, but we're able to take the ball away quite often and do it in a manner that put the football team in advantageous positions. And that's something that we really need to have happen and to have continue to go forward because I ain't gonna lie, I whew, I, I feel some type of way when I'm over there watching BJ and his highlight film is fun. I'm not gonna lie, like go check out the guy's social media. I'm gonna have to hit him up and see if we can get him on the show. His highlight film is fun. Like he got that little bit of swagger to him. He got that cockiness to him, and you're able to see that some of the NFL teams are looking at him. That's great. We need more of that. You're able to see that, excuse me, the players that have come out of FAMU because no, not Isaiah Lane. Marquise Bell did not get drafted, and that was a travesty in my personal opinion. But what that did is show that FAMU's got talent. And okay, you overlooked this one, but you may not overlook the next one because this guy's about to take somebody's roster spot in the league. And he wasn't the only one that was very good in that team. I was surprised Collier didn't sign with someone. And I, I feel like they're still playing my dude Savior, and that's I told y'all that's like my favorite player from last year's team. And I'm biased. He's a really cool dude. Got to meet him at the spring game. Nice guy. I cheer for him. I cheer for all the FAMU guys. Like I'm not gonna lie, I haven't found a favorite this year. I do have a favorite, but that's because I'm biased. But again, FAMU's football team, especially in the secondary, is going to be really good. And just as you saw, we talking a 6'1" safety, 6'2" safety. FAMU secondary has some size. Not saying that we don't have a 6'5" corner. Like Malachi Wideman in that Jackson State game is still going to be a problem because he's a tall, multi-sport athlete. Again, he came to the Lawson Center and played basketball there. Oh, I think we won that game. I don't remember. It's been a few months, and I don't dwell on basketball as much. But that kid's an athlete, really good guy, and I'm 30 some years old. I'm calling him a kid, like, but he's a young man. That young man is very talented, very good athlete, and you're gonna be able to see. Hopefully, we could put one of those taller corners on a guy like that so that we can slow down this offense that they have. But mentioning offenses and one of the best offenses from the Southwestern Athletic Conference for the past couple of years is Alabama A&M. And y'all see the schedule up there from last year. That game was close. 35-31. We did not beat the brakes off those guys. I'm not one of those people that's going to trash talk you. I don't do a lot of trash talk in general. I do have one side thing going on with somebody from Southern. If we beat them, they're supposed to wear FAMU stuff. If we lose, I'll find some Southern stuff. But I also have a friend that attends Southern, so it's a dual purpose thing. And I'll do it on the podcast. Please don't make me wear Southern stuff. That means I got to go buy some. But that being said, and I do like Southern. I do like them. They're probably my favorite rival after Cookman. After that, it's like that was fun. And if you've never been to that game, in Baton Rouge, you're doing yourself a disservice because that game in Tallahassee is fun as a FAMUan, but to go there to AW Mumford is different. Like that's a level of discomfort that every fan should kind of feel. That I can only equate that to when I've gone to the Florida State Florida game and I wore Florida State stuff and I wore FAMU stuff over there. I was like, we're not doing this thing. I'm not, I'm not doing that. And that was when Tebow was there and them Seminoles got mollywopped. But last season, that game was a 35-31 back and forth. It was edge of your seat. Oh my gosh, like that game was exciting to watch. And as you can see, halftime, FAMU was losing. Third quarter, FAMU was losing, but it was a fourth quarter comeback. And every dog has his day, but that day what didn't belong to the dogs. And I don't know about the attendance there. I think it's gonna be a little better at Bragg. But that game was fun. Yeah, 8,000. That's less than half of your stadium's attendance being filled. But and I'm not throwing shade. I'm just being honest. Like it was kind of a tough watch as a fan. Like, but the game was fun. Like it was nice. As it shows, it was sunny, 64 degrees. The weather was beautiful. Like Lewis Cruz shows well if they had a better crowd there as far as attendance wise. Not saying the crowd wasn't uh, participatory. It was just small, 8,000 people in the stadium that seats about 25. Lewis Cruz is about the size of Bragg, if not larger, especially after the renovations. And it's a newer stadium than Bragg as far as prior to the renovations and the almost brand spanking new Bragg Stadium that you have, which for all intents and purposes is new. It says Huntsville, Alabama. So I'm confused. I need to pick a city. But as you can see, the game, Bishop Bonnet, night he really tore them up. And was it? I'm seeing two touchdowns for the Bishop. Yeah, and that 80-yard run was the one. That's the one that did the dogs in. And but it was a good game, good back and forth. If you have the opportunity, if you have the time, I encourage you to go back and watch it, especially if you're a fan viewing, because you want to be able to talk trash and be petty. But even as an Alabama A&M fan, they only lost 3 games last year. They lost to the two best teams in the conference, in my opinion. That would be Jackson State and FAMU. And then they also lost to Grambling. And that was a shocker. I didn't see that coming in, but I also thought Grambling was a little better at the beginning of the season. I felt like by the end of the season, them kids had pieced out. Like, especially after that FAMU homecoming. Woo, yeah. And really, they only do a lot of damage after Savion Williams gets kicked out of the game for what I consider the most bogus of penalties. He rocks the baby, and the guy throws him out the game. What kind of garbage is that? But again, I digress. Now, the previous season, Alabama A&M won the SWAC. They won the SWAC in that summer COVID season, and that was a fun watch. Like if you didn't watch Alabama A&M, excuse me, I think I said state. But Alabama A&M, I'm not gonna lie, if you are a air raid pass heavy fan, they're fun to watch. And Cardinal Maynard is a fun person to listen to because he is braggadocious. He does have a little bit of that Ric Flair uh, to him, and he talks trash. And I like it, man. I do like that. I love how now I do like Willie Simmons. Don't get me wrong. I love my coach because I love how Coach Simmons is kind of like quietly cocky. Like he's gonna tell you that he believes in his team, and he's gonna look and tell you straight in your eye. Like he ain't gonna talk too much trash, but what he does, he throws his jabs in. Don't think, oh man, that's just quiet old Willie. No, no, no. Willie Simmons throws in his jabs. Let me get a sip real quick. But he does it when the time is right. He's not just up here. He's not gonna come into the game and tell you we're gonna throw for 1,000 yards and them boys better watch out. And no, he's gonna highlight his players. He's going to try to promote them, which is something that I like. I think that that's something that helps and bodes well for the program. But last season, this game went to the wire. Like, come back and check it out because I went to Alabama A&M's website. I didn't go to Florida A&M's website. And want y'all being like, man, he just using off. No, no, no. I'm gonna use their own resources, um, so I can show that this game was. It was close. And again, beautiful weather. I would love for us to get that kind of weather. 64 degrees. That is gorgeous. It was a what 1 o'clock kick. Good luck getting that in Tallahassee because it's gonna be hot. If you're not familiar with how Florida weather works, it's hot till October, especially in Tallahassee. Now, and that's a September 24th game, 6 o'clock. That's a night game. Oof. So that means that game probably went into like 10 or 11. So that's good for both teams. And looks like the first couple games, we are 8 o'clock, 3 o'clock in Miami, 6 o'clock. So they got the times released. If you look on the FAMU Athletics website, I don't know if that's subject to change based on the wants or the whims of ESPN, but whoever decided to put those games at night, appreciate it because it's gonna be hot. And so that game, you're probably talking about an 80, 90 degree kick as far as like not mathematical degrees. I'm talking about it's gonna be hot. So drink a lot of water and make sure you don't show up to the game drunk. I was trying to find a nice way to say it, but I ain't got it, man. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all at all time. But last year's game was 35-31. Alabama A&M again is one of the most high-powered offenses in the SWAC. They lost their quarterback Akil Glass. I believe he had a tryout with the Bucks, and he was highly touted as far as coming in and coming out of the season last year. But they got a new quarterback, and more than likely, this Illinois quarterback, Corin Taylor, is going to be one or two. He might not start, but I highly doubt he transferred from Illinois to sit on the bench. They did lose a transfer that they had from the University of Miami. He decided to retire from football, which is respectable. Like football hurts. Football is going to leave you with scars. Anybody who played football, like myself, can tell you. Like I didn't play college football, and I still got injuries. Like I blame me for getting stuff on football all the time. And it may be a bold faced lie, but I'm gonna say it. My wife like, you remember that? Like, nah, I forgot. I used to play football. But that being said, um, look for Alabama A&M's offense to really be the thing. And I'm wondering how well this game goes as far as FAMU's ability to control the line of scrimmage. We just saw again, and I keep referencing this because it's valid and because it's true, that Florida A&M did better when we ran the ball. The games that we lost last year were games in which we didn't run the ball. We kind of got behind. We had to throw the ball, and we lost. Again, the Jackson State game, we couldn't really like we could get the running game going, and then we couldn't. But we really struggled to throw the ball, and it rained right before we lost. USF game, go back and watch that. That game was closer than you think. As a FAMU fan, I was like, we were kind of in it. I'm not one of those people like, yeah, we almost beat them. No, that's a lie. But we were in that game. That game was closer than that score indicates. And the Southeastern Louisiana game, I didn't feel like we was in that game. Felt once they hit that special teams play, it was over. But here we go. Come on now. There we go. But that is last year's game. And the big thing you're gonna notice when you look at Alabama A&M, besides the fact that the news report that you're going to hear is all about how many players they had that transferred in. And that's fair because they transferred in like 30 players. They brought in like 38 players during the offseason. I mean, that's a massive roster change. One of my favorite player on the football team even left, Richard Callaway, my former student. Great guy, though, great kid. Graduated from Alabama A&M, but he also graduated from the Great Jones High School. Um, but you can see that again. This is going to be their fourth game of the season, and this is their first game outside of the state of Alabama. That's a good little distance. Like I'm going to go on the record and say it on wax. If this FAMU TSU thing doesn't happen as far as in Atlanta, Alabama A&M and FAMU should consider moving this game to Atlanta. It's in the middle. It's a good 4 hours, 5 hours. I think about 4.5 hours from both campuses. I'm just saying. I'm gonna put it out there. I don't think anybody with any power is listening, but if you are, it's an idea. Like it's a great way to maybe have a classic going. I know some of y'all want all the games at home. I like home games, but I also like the idea of having a game where there ain't 8,000 people there. That wasn't a move, and there was a good amount of FAMU people at that game too. But when you look back at it, and here's the 21 schedule, you'll notice Alabama A&M's defense is not going to be talked about. And that's not saying they didn't have good players, but it's just saying look at the wins and losses. Even in the South Carolina State, that's a game. That's a 1 point win. They gave up 41 points. BCU last year, and Bethune Cookman was not a good team at the beginning of the season because they're decimated by what took place due to like scholarships and everything else. Bethune Cookman almost won that game within 3 points. They gave up 27 points. Alabama A&M gives up 35 points to Tuskegee. That's a Division II team. In the game they lost to Grambling, they gave up 37 points. To Jackson State, they gave up 61 points. FAMU, they gave up 35. In the Magic City Classic, they gave up 28. When they beat Mississippi Valley State, they only gave up 14. But Valley wasn't great. They weren't terrible, but they weren't in the upper echelon of the conference. Texas Southern, uh, sorry, Scotty, I'm definitely gonna mess this up. Andrew Body, but Andrew Body and the boys put 49 on them. Then Arkansas Pine Bluff dropped 24. Now, granted, Arkansas Pine Bluff gave FAMU the business. That was another game that was a tough fight. 37-7. All right, that was petty. But it was a tough watch. But again, another game where when you look through the season, the question is going to be one, how does that defense look? Because Alabama A&M has a tough schedule. Alabama, University of Birmingham, University of Alabama at Birmingham. Sorry, UAB. That's why they say UAB instead of all the mixture words. That's a FBS opponent. Then you're going to play at Troy, another FBS opponent. I believe Huntsville to Birmingham's like an hour or two. I could be wrong. Detroit, that's a ride. That's darn near to Tallahassee. Like that's Troy's only what about 2 hours from Tallahassee, maybe 2.5. It's not a bad ride. I've made it like 2.5, 3 hours. It's not terrible. So you're going into Southern Alabama for that one. Then you got Austin P at home, but Austin P's mm, mm, we'll see. And then you play FAMU. That's ugh, that's a tough road to hoe. And you get that back to back to back, no break. Like that, you got a good schedule, Alabama A&M, as far as like proximity to home, but your first four games are tough. Like you don't get a break until maybe the Cookman game. Like if you want to say that's a break, because that's gonna be a resurgent team, and they're gonna be physical. Cookman's gonna play them real tough, but that FAMU game is gonna be physical. Look at the offensive line and what we brought in, and considering that your defense has not been a strength of your team. Not saying that they can't be, because a lot of the introduction of the transfer students was to help alleviate the problem that was there at the offense or on the offense. I mean defense, excuse me. So, and then you had a lot of offensive talent coming in. Like that's gonna be a fun team to watch. Now, again, they have a massive signing class, 38 signings, and that's gonna be interesting as far as who they got. Now, who do I think wins the game? I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna be a homer. I think FAMU wins, but I think it's another close one. It's gonna be a night game at Bragg, and ooh, let me see who wins. And I'm writing it down so I can keep track of who I say wins and who I say loses. Depends on who the quarterback is for FAMU. Is it Musa or is it McKay? and what those receivers look like, because this may be the game where Willie tries to open it up. I think we try to run the ball at first, and if we have success running the ball, I don't think we deviate from that, just because I think they're going to be a little beat up. Again, even for FAMU, it's a tough schedule, but it's not the same. It's not the same level of strength starting off. Yes, we get UNC at the beginning of the season. Then we get Jackson State. But then you get that Albany State game. Granted, Albany State's going to be very physical. They like to run the ball, but it's not the same as you playing two FBS teams. Then you're playing an Austin P team that's probably going to have a little something to prove. Like they want to be able to show a little something and have that little conference pride because they're in the OVC. So we're gonna see. Like that's gonna be an interesting one. But I think FAMU, especially if we can get ahead in that Albany State game, that's gonna be the game that helps us win the Alabama A&M game because you do get a little rest, you get a respite to speak of, and you get a little break. And to me, that's the big thing, and that's gonna determine who wins the game. That's gonna help you figure out who's gonna be there because man, that that Alabama Birmingham game, UAB, sorry, followed by a Troy game, and those are two physical teams, especially Troy. Troy's physical. They've been physical forever. Followed by Austin P and FAMU, and you coming to brag? Oh man, I think coming to brag just alone is worth 7 points, and then the 100 gonna be there. That's another three. That's 10 points. You down when you before you got off the bus. I'm going to say I think FAMU is going to get this one. I'm going to say, was it last year was 35-31. I'm going to say it's going to be 38-24. I think FAMU wins this game. And I think FAMU wins the game because one, the atmosphere. It's a night game at Bragg, and that's going to be hot. And I'm going to pull up this little thing here just to help y'all people out. Far as hopefully you got your tickets. If not, like not tickets, your hotels. But we're gonna look and see what the Florida State football schedule looks like for that weekend. Cause traffic that day may be trash. And you do know the FSU football games are very it's much more likely to move around based on what's going on. So I didn't even check to see this. I just pulled this up on the fly. Like, who's FSU playing that day? All right, let's see. Got both team schedules up. The 24th. Oh. Ooh, that's Boston College. That means you got two home games same day, Tallahassee people. Hopefully, I hate to say this for my Seminoles. Hopefully, y'all catch a 3 o'clock kick or something, or 12 o'clock kick. I really don't want you to catch 12 o'clock kick. That's gonna be hot. That may be good for you against Boston College, but yeah, like the 27th against Duquesne. Mm, now we're talking logistics at FAMU. I ain't even worried about the mother. Oof. Louisville's out of town. So that's gonna be your first problematic game. Cause ain't but so many ways to get downtown. The 24th, highlight that. You may want to leave early for that game because FAMU and FSU are in town on the same day. Granted, the hotels are probably stupid already, but yeah. But that being said, I got FAMU winning this game. I think FAMU wins 38-24. I think FAMU wins because I don't know if Alabama A&M has gotten an opportunity to figure itself out at this point because that first game against UAB to me is not so much of a measuring stick game, but it's a game where you're competing. You get to see how you compete against a team, but you're competing against a team at a higher level. How many of the kinks can you work out against a team that you're overmatched against, especially scholarship wise. I don't want to say talent wise because I think saying blindly that an FBS team is better than an FCS team is irresponsible at the least. But then to follow that with a game against Troy, where you're traveling to Troy, that's not a short ride. And are you flying? And if you are flying, where are you flying into? Montgomery? I don't know. I'm not that well versed in Alabama uh, traveling as far as hotel wise. I would speculate they're taking the bus, but I don't know. Again, that's me being uninformed and admitting that. But that could be tough. Two teams back to back, probably going to be two very physical teams. Mm. And then you get that home game against Austin P. That's where to me, you get a chance to kind of figure it out. What are you going to look like as far as offensively and things of that nature? And then you play FAMU, another game where you don't want to be figuring out. You want to have it figured out. And I think that week where FAMU gets before, where they get Albany State, is the game changer because that's the game where FAMU gets to figure it out. Because you start off with UNC and he wants to figure out. I feel like you're gonna rotate quarterbacks there regardless because you're gonna kind of be like it's UNC. I don't know. I mean, if the game is close, then you're just gonna play it honest, like, oh snap, let's try to win this. And I feel like you try to win regardless, but I feel like there's a little extra incentive to like not try out and put a little bit more out there. Then the game against Jackson State, you're trying to win that. There is who's the quarterback? Yes. But then there's we need to win this game because if we don't win this game, we might not win the conference. And I think it has that level of importance and focus on it. Again, last year going into that game, FAMU had not played a football game in over a year. Jackson State had just come off of a spring season, but a lot of the guys that were there for this fall, quite a few of them weren't there in spring. Like they had some transfers and quite a bit of turnover themselves. So that's going to be interesting to see how does FAMU navigate that? How do you navigate the idea and the concept that okay, now we are playing against a Division 1 football team. Now, not Division 1; they're all Division 1 except for Albany State. But how do you navigate that game as far as okay, you've had two FBS teams, an FCS team, and then the rest of the season is what it is. Like, I just think Alabama A&M has kind of not done themselves a great favor as far as scheduling, but it's going to be a tough schedule. I feel like if it's one of those things that if people give the SWAC a modicum of respect and Alabama A&M loses a game or two, this is how you kind of get your way into getting playoff bids. But you got to beat Austin P. They'd have to beat FAMU, and then their only loss would have to be like Jackson State, similar to what FAMU did. But for FAMU, I think we run the ball. The only reason I think I got 38 points is I think that there's something about Bragg, and it's not just some salty but Rattler dogs, just is different. And I think that's the first time they get that kind of atmosphere all season. They don't get that atmosphere at UAB. It's going to be packed. I think UAB is going to be, honestly, I think Alabama A&M fans might outnumber the UAB fans for that game. And I'm being respectful, but I think they're going to show up for that. Like that might be one of their games. I think the game at Troy, I don't know how many of them going to show up. I just don't know. That's not me speaking greasy. It's not me trying to be like, oh man, they don't show up. No, I just don't know how many of them show up. I don't think a lot of them show up for that Austin P game. But that FAMU game, if you're in the area, I think they show up. And I think that game's gonna have a really good attendance as far as just because these two teams haven't played in God knows when. Now you get these two teams, two high powered offenses, potentially high powered offenses, matching up together, and that just that atmosphere. And it's a night game at Bragg, and they've been waiting all day to get this game. Adrenaline. Are they properly rested? Like there's something we don't talk about with that. Like there's something to playing a game early in the day, getting out the way, you're done, it's over, opposed to sitting around waiting, and you're at Bragg, and you really can't go a lot of places, especially with the advent that Florida State's got a home game. They can't go to downtown Tallahassee or the mall and do a whole bunch of other things because you literally have four college football teams in the same city, and Boston College doesn't travel very well. But still, you have all these people in the same area. It's going to make travel very difficult. The players are going to have to be at the stadium pretty early. They're probably going to be there probably 11, 12, maybe 1 o'clock for a 5 o'clock kick. So you're talking them being just sitting down for 5 hours before the game, and then the game starts. And this isn't their home field. They're not in their home lockers. It's it's going to make a difference. And this is your first time in Bragg in that kind of atmosphere. And we know how petty the 100 is. We know how petty our fan base is. Like, yeah, it's going to be an interesting atmosphere. And this is why I feel like FAMU wins. I feel like FAMU gets 2 or 3 turnovers against this team. Now, that being said, mentioning FAMU, um, we got a guy who graduated from across the tracks joining us, and I'm happy to bring him in. He also works with the FQ network there, and I'm gonna let him get his camera right. He is Mr. James Coleman. If you're not familiar, this guy, he's a good football player.
Oh man, I was okay. How you doing on this fine Sunday, man?
Man, I am great, brother. How are you doing, man?
Minus the BS, my life is great.
Hey, there you go. Man, welcome to the show, man. I thank you for accepting the invite, man. I was like, man, I hope he didn't think I was trying to start without him. I know they had me for my 8:30 slide. I said, nah, man, I'll stall till you get here. You good?
Yeah, nah. When I saw the when you sent me the stream yard, I was like, man, dang, okay, I thought we said this, and I had a couple. Like, it's been a very hectic weekend. So one of the things I do with media and marketing is I throw a lot of events, and a lot of that stuff is all about branding and building everything together. So I had some stuff in Tallahassee with some athletes explaining to them about the NIL process for FAMU and Florida State. We did some events, and then we had this is Florida State's 60th year of integration this year coming up, and we have every year we have the Black Alumni Breakfast. It's a concerted effort across multiple major metros. I mean, Jacksonville's not, and Tallahassee aren't major metros, but it's big enough. And we go there. It's a lot of Black excellence. Basically, it's a Tyler Perry movie. It's great, beautiful, handsome people, and but it was at my cigar lounge, and that I own and I help operate. And I was like, you can't have an event for your university at your
Yeah.
cigar lounge with you not being here. But I was in Tallahassee, so I got up, first thing in the morning to make sure I was here. So, and then I've been ripping and running. I took a nap, but when you get, I don't know how old you are, but when you
We're
get
close.
a certain age, man, naps help and hurt at the same time. So like I was in pain, but I have a couple other things, and I think I got to do the news tonight. So, but other than that, man, anytime I went to a PWI, but I grew up, I like to say it like this: a lot of people go 4 years to find a Black experience, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need that. I was literally born on an HBCU campus. I got my diapers changed in Pokenhorn Village. And if you're a real FAMU person, you know what Pokenhorn Village is. And it's the to show you how antiquated the concept of it is, it's the marriage dorms. You could not, they're the only co-ed dorms on campus. So like there was things where they were, making sure that men and women weren't doing what they trying, not doing what got me born in Pocono Village. My mom and daddy being fast, as the old people would say. They both met at FAMU, and before I knew what a PWI experience was, the only thing I knew was HBCUs, and they always hold a dear place in my heart. So it's a great thing. It's something that I think people need to take pride in, but now it's time to take that pride to the next step, or you just talking. And I think that's one of the, it's not just an HBCU problem. It's actually, I think it's a Black community problem in general, but this isn't a political show. It's a lot of anger, a lot of upset, a lot of unrest, and not a lot of action that comes after it, which I think is unfortunate and foolish. So.
He's correct. And a fun fact is, um, if you were to go on the campus of Florida State University and you would go to the integration statue, two of those people are my cousins. We
Oh
actually
wow.
just had our family reunion. I missed it because I was ripping and running down here myself. But Fred Flowers and Dobby Lee Flowers are my cousins.
Oh wow.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
those my kin people. So I am closely tied to Florida State. One of my cousins just transferred out, but I'm a Florida State fan. So I cheer for FAMU and FSU. Tell me about your cigar lounge, though, man. You're not gonna
Yeah.
come up here and have a black-owned business, and we're not gonna highlight it.
Yeah.
That's what we're not gonna do.
So one of the things that I've learned to do is I don't know how to write a resume at all. Never had to. But what I do know how to do is promote myself and talk and share. Oh, let me get this cord fixed, my charger. But I know how to promote myself and get things and get things in place. So through that and through running events, I've met a lot of people. And the guy Scott Flowers, not Scott Flowers, excuse me, Scott Hendricks, who's become a good friend of mine. He runs adult. I call them adult chicken wing establishments. Just so if the best wings you'll ever get is from a specific place, and if you go there, do whatever you want, but the wings are good. I know that.
Right.
But they have cash business, and they bought this property, and he likes cigars. I am a cigar connoisseur through through just life, but my radio and my show, my podcast is sponsored by thehumidor.com, which is backed by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. They're the largest purchaser of tobacco. So I've gone on trips. I've gone and done a lot of different things. I know I know the Oliva family, the Padrones. I met, these are also Florida State grads too, some of the kids. So I've got a chance to do a lot of things in the cigar world. And my guy, Chris Gwaltney, who buys all this stuff and has given me this. Anyway, so we did all these things, and I have these connections, and I can help, bridge the gap. So what happened is he brought the opportunity to me to become a partner in something that he was going to do. And my job is to get butts in seats and to market it and to talk about cigars. And I actually do my podcast from our what we call our executive lounge, which is a very fancy way to say VIP. And every day I do my podcast from there. It's called Goodfellas. It has a speakeasy vibe to it, and I'm African American. Obviously, my business partner it looks like a biker, but he's probably one of the nicest people both of us share this in common. We're phenomenal friends, best people you could ever want. We're fierce competitors, though, which makes us terrible enemies. So we're going to win, and we don't want to just win. We like to run the score up. So I got a chance to do that. But a lot of the business ventures, even Fifth Quarter, so as I'm a percentage owner of Fifth Quarter as well. So how we got started with that was I got forced into writing. I hate to write. I didn't like writing in college, but I have these ideas, and I can clearly illustrate my point. But I type and run on sentences. I talk and run on sentences. I don't know the Queen's English. I am not going to try to front. I am not T.I. I am not going to use big words when I don't need to use them. I learned that most people, especially when I learned that most people, I think it's about 57% of Americans between the ages of 17 and 74 can't read past the 6th grade level anyway. So even if I told you these things, you wouldn't understand me. So I could, like KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. But I was having these articles go viral for Florida State, but who I wrote for was under a paywall. So like you would go click it, but like every third time you go try to look at it, it was asking you to register for some Home Depot gift card, which is like, the spam stuff. And I presented an opportunity. And I was like, okay, man, we'll pay $1. I was like, it's equivalent. The pay-per-click stuff is if you pay $1 a month, you could get what I need. I would get what I need if we get enough people doing it. And we got enough people doing it for FSU fifth quarter, and then that's when it exploded. And we about probably like 3-4 years ago is when we really started doing those things. But again, it all comes from being very, very good at what I do, and just transitioning and going there and then trying to give other people opportunities. So many times as African Americans, it's two things we do. Two things that happen to us. We don't get the opportunities that we should get, no matter how talented we are. honest to God's truth, I probably shouldn't even be doing this with fifth quarter with the quality of content I put out. And it's nothing against this. We're phenomenal. We're dope. We the best. But for what it was, War Chant, Rivals, 247, all of these other people, but for a black writer with opinions, strong opinions, that really doesn't care how you feel about what he says and what he's going to do, that's a little intimidating. So I get that. So I don't get those opportunities, so I create my own. And it's profitable. Same thing goes into business, the cigar lounges or stuff like that. It's very difficult because of the point of entry, and how much it costs to get a liquor license and all these things. That being said, that we got to learn apprenticeship. So we have to learn how to find the right allies that can come in. So like now I can walk you through, Keith, the process of starting a cigar lounge or a club. Now, if you do what we tell you to do, you're going to be very successful. Now, if you want to do it on your own, God bless. But if you want to do it together, we probably can achieve more and be able to help. But I don't gatekeep. So what happens is a lot of times we get into these positions, we get in with the opposite races that have helped us, and now all of a sudden we're trying to like, well, no, that's my white guy. That's, as I call him, that's my pilgrim. You can't have my pilgrim. And what ends up happening is you never know what's going to deter. Relationships change. You never know what's going to happen down the road. And now that's why you see the guys, they flame out, but then there's nobody there to help. I unapologetically give back. Do book bag drives and stuff. I don't want to be at the top by myself. Plus, I'm from the hood. When you stunt and you're doing stuff, you don't help it. That's the fastest way to get robbed. You get robbed for any reason. But at the same time, I want to make sure that the reason you robbed me isn't because you saw me having something that you was lacking, and I didn't give you the game or the education. So, but Goodfellas, and we're gonna chain that bad boy. We're gonna put this in a couple other different cities. Again, it's so great. We don't have security, but we have security. It's probably not the place that you want to get that you want to go try to mess up, because you'll probably was it Newton's Law. And also because I also have a gun sponsorship, which is really, really dope. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and it's no different than Goodfellas. You probably won't like the reaction that we'll give you from our standpoint, but we haven't had any problems. Just good vibes, and it's just white, black, country music. I don't give a damn what it is, as long as it's green, and people are having a good time. And it's just getting kind of like, it's not the Cotton Club, but like if you think about like what you thought about Harlem and all the stuff up north, and like it's just all I can do. Like, and you can go in there with a suit like I do more often, or you can go in there with sweats, and you're gonna feel just as good. So, but yeah, I like it. That's fun, and I get to smoke and drink. It's a great experience.
In full transparency, we're connected because of the fifth quarter. So I also run the
Yep.
fifth quarter FQ FAMU Twitter page, and much like James, I came in and I have no journalism background. I have a history degree, and I just saw an opening, and I say, hey, I reached out, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
blessed, and that's turned into this, to where now I still do the fifth quarter FAMU Twitter page. I love it. It's one of my passions, and I also do the Things Up Twitter page. And as y'all can see, HBCU Digital has picked me up, and it's allowed me to talk to people like James. Like, he didn't have to give back. I just reached out to him like, hey man, you want to join me on the show? And he's like, yes. I was like, yo, that's
Yeah,
what's
I
up.
go where I'm asked. I saw I love Hov, right? Jay-Z's my favorite rapper. Not just rapper, just inspirational business person.
Kindred
And he's
spirits.
something where he doesn't charge for features anymore,
Oh, I
because
didn't know.
he knows what's going to he knows what's going to happen when he hops on it. And it's not that I ain't Hov at all, but like I just, if somebody asks me, like, the biggest part of it is this. Like, I just talked to you about gatekeeping and about wanting somebody to give me the opportunity. So like, how dare me, if I have the ability and the time, tell somebody no when I know what no felt like for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, what was wilder about it for me, in particular being at Florida State, is all them folks wrote about me. They got paid to write articles about me, and like even now they'll talk bad about me because we're unapologetic with what we do. Well, I am, And we got some other cats that's really, really dope, and they unapologetic too, and I love it. I'll retweet them. Like my guy Michael Black, who does the Oregon stuff. I love Michael. Michael is crazy, and I got to tell, like, somebody was like, "You shouldn't be doing this." Like, I'm gonna tell your editor. I said, "Well, we ain't firing him. If that's what he's talking about and that's what he's saying, he's standing on it, then we ain't going." I said, "I'm telling you right now, if he get fired, it's gonna be a problem." But again, like, so, like, if people ask me to come on and do something, I've been told no because people wanted to gatekeep and keep me out of it and not help me. So, like, why would I do something, especially when it benefits to both of us? Like, like what I'm doing with FAMU right now, and some of the things that we're attempting to do with FAMU or athletes in general, but I'm reaching out across the tracks, as they say, and making sure that those guys don't get left behind as well. And I've got an amazing opportunity with an amazing young man. Matter of fact, we talked on Friday, had to give him the game, a little bit more about how stuff is going to do. But Isaiah Land, who is not just a good football player, he's the best defensive player in FCS, and he's coming back. And what I need FAMU alumni to understand is that, we talk about JSU. And we talk about that, and that's cool. That's popping. Like, don't get me wrong. Deion, you might think I love Deion, but I don't. I love what Deion's standing for, but, like, it's more of like almost a fraternal thing inside the Florida State things. Like, but I'm not gonna get into that on this show. Plus, he's an op. I like FAMU, and he's at JSU. But I love what he's doing as a black man, using his networks, his leverage to be able to get other young black men paid. The thing with Travis Hunter is nothing more than what you're doing basically with this podcast. Or if we look at it in the real world, excuse me, it's executive producer credit. So, like, if you watch TV shows, you at the end see all the names in the credits, but there's always one at the end that's in bold and it says executive producer. What that means is that's the guy who gets paid. That guy's job is to pay all the other people in the letters before, but that's the person who owns the show. So all he did was set up with Barstool as the opportunity to EP his life. Everything Travis Hunter did went viral, but he never got a chance to participate in that. So everything he'll do for Barstool, like, you can hate the guy from Barstool all you want, but he's not stupid. He's an incredible businessman. And I think too many times people get personal feelings messed up with business. And, like, from a business standpoint, I don't give a damn who he voted for. If he can get me millions, then I'm gonna go get that millions, and I'm gonna go do what I want to do with my money after that. But anyway, so he leveraged that. They did something that was great because we used to call him Slant Tooth Shorty. His grill was atrocious. It's terrible. I look at my son right now, and I'm like, I want you to be like Travis Hunter in every aspect except for how you brush your teeth and the things that you do, because that looks expensive. But they went and got and she's so fine. But boy, I tell you what, one, black women are beautiful. Two, black women at HBCUs is fine. Like,
mine just walked in the room. That's why I gave that funny look. Mine walked in and walked out. I'm like,
but this dentist is oral surgeon, is a JSU alum. So they took the biggest prospect right now in JSU's history currently. No offense to guys who played Keenan McCardell and guys who played before, but right now he's the most notable JSU person outside of Deion. Connecting them with a JSU alum to put out something on social media to show that this is what we do. This is how we get down at the HBCUs. We take care of our own. That's an incredible message. But it also does two things. She has a YouTube channel that grows her YouTube channel. Every time once you get over 1,000 followers on YouTube, subscribers, you become monetized. So if that gets her over 1,000, that goes viral. She's gonna I think a million streams roughly on YouTube is about you get 70K. So that I don't care. I don't know about you, but somebody just dropped 70K and me, that pays for the teeth itself, more than likely. But it's also the best marketing that she can get. It's not enough to be out and sing the songs that I'm so proud I go into FAMU. You gotta support it. So, like, when you see guys like Isaiah Land, and this is where the unique the landscape is could shift if you take advantage of it and you stop trying to play ball like them and understand the rules and how you can get in where you fit in. Because I told people 10 years ago that HBCUs had no business even being in the NCAA. It does nothing for you. It is of no benefit. Get out, find guys like LeBron, who is already wanting to be an owner. Find people like Jay-Z who can't get into NFL ownership, but let them buy your athletic departments and pay the athletes. I tell you this much, when I was coming out of Florida High in Tallahassee, if you would have said, James, you can go to Florida State, go get that education, or you can come to FAMU, I'm going to give you $45,000. I'm going to take the $45,000. The rule for NCAA, the rule to go to the NFL is that I got to be 3 years removed from high school. It doesn't say I have to go how I got to get it. It just says I got to be 3 years. But so you still don't want to pay. But what you have is one of the biggest, most iconic brands in all of sports. FAMU, I could go to somewhere, I could go to Chicago, go to a sporting goods store, and I can see a FAMU shirt there. If I wear a FAMU shirt in the airport, I'm in Paris, France. They'll recognize the color scheme more than they'll recognize a university that's a PWI who has a similar color scheme in the University of Miami. They'll automatically assume that it's FAMU. You got a guy, I believe, who just won was it an Oscar? Unfortunately, Will Smith slapped somebody and kind of got overshadowed. You got
hosting Oscars.
You got you have the guy who's over Microsoft. You've got you've got big time attorneys. You got a lot of these guys that could literally, fund the NIL by itself. But two, if nothing else, you've got an alumni base that if I go out and I videotape a fight in the cafe, it'll go viral. But when I have a video of Isaiah Land taking some young children, my young children, on a tour of your athletic facility, letting the world see how really you have one of the not the best facilities in FCS. It gets, I think it has, I think right now it has 225 views on the YouTube channel. In comparison to having Kalen DeLoach do the exact same thing and it's a 5-minute video, so it's like a really short watch. But having Kalen DeLoach do the same thing at Florida State, and Florida State goes behind it, it's got like over 5,000 views in the same amount of time. You got to back your own, and you're showing an example. So again, you want me to send my son to your university because you want the 17-year-old to take the risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the 17-year-old is seeing the defensive player of the year in FCS get 225 views, and a guy who's good, really good, but not on the same level as this guy, do the same thing, but get backed by it. And it's not from a lack of Twitter. Willie Simmons retweeted it. Your head coach retweeted it. Everybody retweeted it. It's got a lot of retweets, but not a lot of action. So that's what I'm saying. Your actions have to match what you want your expectations to be. Other than that, I mean, otherwise y'all gonna my bad, because I don't want to sound like this guy Kevin Samuels was signing with women, but this is the truth, man. If you want it to happen, you have to act systematically, or you're looking up. Because going back to JSU, because what Travis Hunter did it wasn't JSU. Because to be honest with you, I guess I grew up on HBCU campus. I ain't never heard a kid say, when I grow up, I want to go to JSU. And that's no offense to anybody from JSU. I was in a great HBCU Twitter space the other day, and the guys were talking trash. I'm like, man, listen, dog. I'm just a PWI guy here. I don't want to get in, but like, dog, a different world ain't had nobody with a JSU sweatshirt on. Martin wasn't wearing JSU sweatshirts. Living Single wasn't wearing it. These are all iconic things in the 90s when there was a resurgence. They were in FAMU, Howard, Hampton. Heck, I listened to Tom Joyner growing up, and that's kind of who I want to pattern my media stuff after. I don't know. He may have, but I know Tom Joyner went to Tallahassee 2 times a year. I don't remember him going to Mississippi to say, that this is where he was going to take his Friday on Fridays. He would go onto a college campus, and he would take that. So I mean, and again, it's no disrespect, but FAMU has this. But what Travis Hunter did was he bought into Dion, and the school he was going to go to, my alma mater, was telling him that he's going to be the next Dion. Well, who better to teach you how to be Dion than damn Dion?
Right.
That's how he got there. With the bar stool, with the other stuff. But the biggest thing is he said, I'm going to show you how to do your brand. And I'm going to put my brand behind your brand. And that's going to put a battery behind you. And you're going to make money off of your name, image, and likeness. And if you do what you're supposed to do on the football field, you're going to show kids that they can go to the NFL from an HBCU, but bigger than that, in this world of name, image, and likeness, you're going to show kids that they can make money here just as well as they can make it at Alabama. And if not, if you can't keep people in Bama, Texas A&M, Georgia, Ohio State, those are hard to compete with. But these HBCUs, I think, man, between you and Marshall right now,
right,
you can compete.
Yes, like
your facilities might.
I made the statement about UMass the other day. I'm like,
yeah, like,
I don't understand how they take FAMU players or kids from Florida.
It's just because people don't know, and it's an elite mindset. It's a mentality. I got a friend, April, who does marketing for the Army, which marketing is recruiting is under marketing. When I first met her a decade ago, she came into my office and said, we are telling people we're the Army. We are no longer the second option. We are the first option. We are the best. We are this. We blah, blah. And I'm like, bullshit to me. I ain't going to no Army. But the energy that she came in, the confidence she came in, and she had, this is how we're going to take care of you. If I'm with Isaiah, and again, this is me for the love of the game. Mm-hmm. I don't get anything. Well, let me rephrase that. I do. But this is how I get it. Fifth quarter FAMU, we're going to start a fifth quarter FAMU or HBCU Discord like we already have it. If you haven't gone to fifth quarter, go check it out. It's really, I mean, guys, it's fun. You can get lost in it. You can go talk trash. You can get into it. But if we could create that, again, if y'all love it for $5, you can come in there and you can get lost. I told somebody, I got my first Twitter page got banned because I told people, if you touch my hair, I'll kill you. I didn't say I'll kill a specific person. I'm not there as the black people that's gonna let you use me as a pet. And plus, I don't know. I learned with COVID, and I got it real bad. Y'all don't wash your ass or your hands. So I don't wash my hair every day. So I don't need you, smelling like catfish or brim, and then touching my hair, and then I gotta go with that smell. But I said if I ever got banned again, I'll just live in my Discord. Because it is its own social media. But coming in there, supporting that, you support that. We can get kids NIL deals and they control I'm teaching these guys how to control their brand. So yeah, I can get some secondary influence and some impact, but we're going to put out some really good content weekly with Isaiah Land, with him training, talking to you about what the good, the bad, and the ugly of what the HBCU process is. We're going to show chicken Wednesdays at the calf. Probably fish Fridays, but we're going to also show you, because of what I saw, and I didn't like it, and it's not a knock on FAMU because they're trying. And there's nothing wrong with that, but what the knock is that one of y'all alumni could go write a check to make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. I think they have bologna sandwiches after the workouts. I was disgusted when I was in there. They can only give what they got, but that ain't really their fault. That's, again, to me, that's on alumni. If I go to when them boys told me at Florida State that they was having struggles with some of the stuff that they were eating, I, as an alumni, was concerned. I went over there and took it up. They told me they need the X amount of dollars, and I opened up my pocketbook. See, that's how you do it. So what I'm trying to, the gist of it is, I'm taking what we did over at the PWI level and figuring out how we can do it on the HBCU level. And I just happen to love FAMU. But there's some kids at JSU that came from out of Tallahassee that I'm going to go help. There's some kids at BCU that I'm going to go help. So just imagine every week we're going to have the game of the week, and we're going to have some trash talk. We'll have some guys from there come in and do live interviews. You support these young men. You honor these young men. You show them that I can be the big time where I'm at. And then they'll come. Stop asking these boys to do stuff and girls too, because basketball, volleyball, the women's sports is where the money's at. I'm telling y'all. But y'all need to stop asking these young men to do something that you wouldn't do yourself. I was sitting down I was telling this young lady, business consultant, went to FAMU. And she's like, things will get better if they just come here. I said, okay. So let me ask you this. So what do you do for a living? She's like, I do business consulting. I said, you work your whole life to get to where you're at right now, right? So you probably charge, you seem really good. You probably charge a good penny, right? You gonna go work with a nonprofit or a startup for low? I told one of my good friends, Chuck Hobbs, who went to Morehouse, man. I said, no, you are a phenomenal attorney. You gonna go be general counsel for FAMU for $25,000? Hell no. You'd be a fool to do that.
Right.
Imagine you're telling a 17-year-old, the 19-year-old to do what you won't do as a mature adult. Why don't you instead build it, show them that this is what could happen, and then ask them to come? But you can't just do it with football, though, or athletics. The best teachers don't teach on the Hill. They're going to other places. You're not hiring you got to hire your best talent, your best admin aren't there. It's gotta be who you are at your core. The same thing we pick on white people about the good on network. We got the same thing, but we just do it for ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Just not as beneficial for us. And one thing that white people won't do is they won't let you mess up their money. And so we'll let our friend come in, do whatever they do, and then get you fired, as opposed to holding accountable and doing things. And just another example. Like I remember I used to be in strength and conditioning, and they asked me to apply for the job of the strength and conditioning coach at FAM. And I was like, man, I'm from Tallahassee, home. I was like, man, I'm gonna go check it out. I looked at what the starting salary was. I'm like, man, I don't roll out of bed for that. It was a slap in the face to even ask a qualified professional to come and do that. And that's why you get the results that you get. And then when I told them, I gave them suggestions on how to renovate the weight room, how to take their athletic. Like you got Gaither Gym. I'm like, just take Gaither Gymnasium, flip it, turn the basketball where the basketball court is and stuff. Instead of having these church services, I forgot forgive me, I don't know exactly what they call, but I know people put chairs and stuff there, and they do stuff like once a semester or something like that. But instead of having those, you can put a weight room in there. You know how I know you can do that? My first year at Florida State, when they were renovating the Moore Center, my high school, Florida High, actually moved to another place. They used my high school gym as my weight room. And it was a nice-ass weight room where you put good equipment in there, and you put some stuff in there, and then you put offices in Gaither. You put a bunch of other stuff in Gaither, and now you know what you have? You have one of the top 25 weight rooms in FCS, all by just repurposing what's already there, as opposed to, again, nothing wrong with the equipment in there is very good. It's just very tiny and not as efficient where you're currently at. So again, I'm saying these things as a guy I'm not critiquing to be like, petty or say it's bad. I'm critiquing to show that, hey, you're not that far off. You just don't know. And what we've done too many times as a culture is say, no, I got to have it just like they got it. And that's just not realistic. Florida State, when I graduated in 05, winter of 05, I didn't even realize this, pretty crazy. Maybe I'm the only one who's crazy. You got to apply for graduation. I just thought, like high school, I finished my classes and then I went to graduation. I had to declare that this is when I want to graduate and then start doing everything else. But what happened was I applied for graduation, and 2 weeks later, I started getting alumni association letters asking me to donate money. So they build a culture of giving back. And I just named some really big people. But I've listened to some, and I'm not even gonna get into some of the ways they want to fundraise and stuff at FAMU, but it should be and I heard this from a FAMU alum, from a ball player. It was great because there are guys who are forward thinking. But he said every year, I think it was October 18th. October is when the anniversary of when the school started.
Yeah, October 3rd, 1887.
Every year there should be $1.887 million raised on that day.
I agree.
Easy campaign, market it, boom, boom, boom. We should know, center around a football game, whatever you need to do. But it should be it's an easy mark. Don't just wear the colors. Don't sing the song. I know the song. Again, I grew up on the Hill. I'm so glad I'm at FAMU singing glory. Stop that. Faith without works is dead. If you believe in that book. So you can sing the song, but if you ain't giving $50 or $10, like they'll get you on any kind of plan. And again, Florida State with the Rising Spear, and I have my Micanopy 1851. We got payment plans. It's cat man, you got $5 a month. Boom, $5, boom, right there. We're gonna ping
And I
that card
just
every
started
month.
that though. That's the stupid part. Rising Spear started about 4 months ago.
It
I
just
I, I
yeah,
listened to the Nolecast, so
right.
I'm
Just
gonna keep
started
that.
one of the raising money. Got some cats in there going in there asking questions. People saying like, "Hey, you gonna shake the trees? We lost this player. We're not gonna lose this player again. We're gonna get this bread." And again, so those are the things. Again, so what you can't do. So maybe you can't match Florida State buck for buck. At least you don't feel it. But there's ways. Again, I was telling Isaiah what we're going to do: building up his Facebook page, building up his Twitter, building up his IG, building up his TikTok. And I joke when I'm saying TikTok and stuff like the Snap, all those different social medias. You know what happens when you go right now on Twitter? You can, if you get to a certain amount, a certain level of followers, you can charge for premium content. The premium content that we're going to help him produce, put on his page, $5. That $5 goes directly to him. He gets paid. Imagine if he only has 100 people paying him $5, that's $500 a month. Make sure I did my math right. Don't pick on me. That's not my thing. But that's that. If he gets 1,000, that's 5 racks. That's something that Coach Simmons can say. While we don't have any control over name, image, and likeness, Isaiah Land is a superstar in it. So you got that. You got on Facebook. On the reels, I happen to have had a really good month last year, and I had a reel get over 1 million views on just one, and then a few others were in the hundreds of thousands and such and such and such and such. Facebook wrote me a check for $1,000, actually with direct deposit. Instagram does these things, so you can't pay them, but what you can do is click a link. I tell YouTube, when you get over 1,000 subscribers, you get these opportunities. But you can click a link. You can listen to a podcast. You can share something. Time, talent, and treasure. You may not have the treasure, but you got the time and the talent. All it takes is for you to listen and share. You got to back these young men as they go out and try to be gladiators. That is the most profitable and the biggest level of marketing that you can have. But if you can't have a kid live comfortably who is the reigning defensive player of the year at FCS, not Black college, all of college on that level, you forget getting the Travis Hunters of the world. You have the bigger prospect. Nobody knows about him because you don't talk about it. You don't share the data. You are not following fifth quarter at FAMU. You're not following HBCU game day. You're not doing these things. You're only doing it when it's comfortable to be out at homecomings and stuff like that. So again, if you've got a business, it's easy. I can show you. It don't take a lot of money. Don't believe these $1 million deals. One of the things me and my friends talked about, my first check that I got in the NFL, I blew it. I blew it. I'm not even gonna lie, it was frivolous. I paid my bills, but the rest of it I blew.
Right.
I was 22 years old when I did that. Every year in the hood, between January 15th and April 15th, income tax checks come. That's when you see the new cars, new shoes, new Jordans. I asked other NFL players, other NBA players, 75% of us all said our first check we blew. So what you're telling me is 17 to 19-year-olds are getting the NFL money. And we've said this generation of kids is way more immature than any other generation. But now they're all of a sudden fiscally responsible. So that lets you know common sense will tell you the money's not what it is. Plus, everybody's goal is get their mama out the hood. You making $1 million and your mama still live in the hood, that just doesn't make any sense. If you making that much money, go ahead and pull your mama out the hood. Mm-hmm. You ain't got to buy her a house, but you can get a nice-ass apartment. My point is that with our goal with Isaiah, I think we have about 3 or 4 right now, is to get him 10 $500 deals. And they can be more, they can be less. But again, and I'm only divulging this information because you may have some of these people who listen to you may have a small business. Mm-hmm. $500 on a marketing budget isn't as much as you think. And then he goes and he promotes your business on his page. So again, if he goes and he promotes your business on his page, and then other FAMU alum, every time he posts something with the intent that he's going to go viral, we're going to make this go viral. So you put a little bit of money into this athlete who put a little bit of time and effort into promoting your business, but then the community comes behind it. and pushes it forward, again, that's not a very difficult plan. It's just not happening.
Mm.
And what you got to do, and it's not just the old people are tough to pull them forward. Trust me, I've had these conversations. It's like banging my head against a wall because it's a lot of things that
Especially on
they're afraid.
FAMU ones.
It's a lot of I just don't want to make Massa mad. Nah. We don't want to get this, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm just saying I'm like, dude, I'm not finna get my own guys popped with the NCAA. I know how
Mm.
this works. I'm literally showing you how it works across the tracks. I'm literally replicating it. But then the young group is just as not willing to pull the trigger as well. Somebody's got to pull the trigger if you want to bring your guys into the next millennium. Again, to quote another guy, you have a typewriter mentality in a smartphone world.
Mm.
You're going to get left behind. And there's no reason to get left behind. But the future is bright. You've got bright stars. You've got really good guys that still want to go. And again, the stories need to be told, and it needs to be told by us, people who know. This stuff Deion's doing is great, but it ain't new. I grew up in Tallahassee when Billy Joe was hopping. We've always had top transfers come in. You've always had some top. You've always had a high school kid that was really good. I remember a couple years in a row they were signing 3-star quarterbacks, which was unheard of at that time. I remember when was it Casey Printers, I believe, came from Kansas State. I remember Quinn Gray with the Gulf Coast offense popping. I remember was it Jaquay? Was it Jaquay Nunnally or
Jaquay
Juwan Simon?
Nunnally,
And all them cats
Siler,
came down.
and your
It's
boy
just
that
like
just moved from Tallahassee, Ben Doherty.
right. So I mean, it's guys that now y'all acting like Deion doing it, but y'all forgot your own history. Y'all won't share. You won't speak up. Allow other people to do it. Allow these cats to talk about it and start flexing. And your flex is showing these cats that you're going to support them. Because again, if you see a kid like Isaiah Land, I'm just using him because that's the only one I really represent. There's a couple other ones that we're talking about. But, if he's doing this, he gets 10,000 followers. He's going viral every day. He's working out. He's doing stuff. Well-educated kid, works out good. Handsome joker. Like, you going out here and you doing this stuff. Now what happens, like I said, my son's not. So he ain't coming no time soon. But if my son sees this and he's coming in with this, he'll give you a shot.
Yeah.
Top 10s are being dropped by top prospects, and JSU is in it. Not because JSU has showed him a bag. It's because of the impression that it gives off. And I'm grateful for it. But you can stop letting Deion school us when we are the school.
Mm.
We already know how to do it. And again, those are my 2 cents. That's how I can solve the world's problem. There is a plan. Follow me at BigGameChange_36. Inbox me. Tell me you got something for this kid. I promise you we'll get it. And I'll punch him if he don't, because he's like a little bro. Because I want him to make it in the NFL. I want him to make a bag. But more importantly, if I could get him on this plan and it works, all we got to do is take that to the next one, and then the next one, and then we grow it and we build upon it like that. But I mean, you got cats, man. You got cats that people need to know. You got like Wally Williams, Super Bowl champion from Tallahassee, did all of this stuff. Like, you got cats that are known in the NFL. That this kid, like, again, my bad. A lot of people don't even know this. This kid went to the Black College Hall of Fame luncheon they had a couple weeks ago. And not a person with them. Now, luckily, he has an NIL deal with Coleman Management Group and Den Media, and that he was able to have a couple dollars to go make this trip. He's going to FAMU Media Day. Now, I had to coach him up a little bit because he didn't know. I told him to take some damn video, and he didn't take the video I needed. Like, he's meeting what's the big Nate Newton. I said, did you interview Nate? Did you tell Nate, like, do you got video or pictures of you and Nate? I didn't think about that. Of course you did. I was like, come on, but it's cool, though, because now he knows when he goes and he does the SWAC Media Days, we're going to talk, we're going to do some stuff. I was like, this is the content that I want. But when we produce this content and we put it out, you gotta show it. You gotta view it. Go share it with your churches. All the other old stuff you do. Your sorrows. Your bros. Again, my mama pledged Beta Alpha, so I know all of this stuff. Again, mama pledged Beta Alpha, aka my godmama Beta Alpha Delta. My god daddy Herb is a Kappa. All the damn Qs over there knew who I was, and my daddy. This is how I know if you went to FAM in the '80s. This is a frat that wasn't a frat. It's called Brothers on Campus. My daddy started a damn frat called Brothers on Campus. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a family joke, and it was a lie until my uncle Juve, who used to work at FAMU, passed, and I saw cats that was talking about how proud they was to be brothers on campus. I said that was I said that was real. So again, it's such a great. I talk about it passionately, just like I talk about my alma mater, because I grew up on that hill. I was a ball boy for basketball. I saw pro. Earl Holmes gave me $100 to buy a program for me after he came back from the Steelers. And he told me to keep the change. I thought I was one of the richest men in the world. The sausage man across the street. Like when I go home, I gotta go get me a sausage from across the street. Them boiled peanuts. It's a lot of stuff, man. Again, it's things that hell, I know about some of y'all. I know more about this. So I know about the orange, going to a camp and going to eat in the orange room or the green room.
Yeah, he's been on campus.
And then kind of being appalled when you go see like the other food look a lot better. Like, shit. So again, a lot of people don't know about Shingles Chicken Shack.
Oh,
right around the corner.
You know about Shingles?
That's my goddaddy. They're like, there I go 4-piece white double fries and a root beer. I go play Miss Pac-Man while they're making it. See, it's all, and again, like you said, I'm a historian. I'm a history major by trade. So all of these things, I love it. And the craziest thing is, so and one of the ills though, and this is where it comes down to. This is why I was saying athletics is what we're passionate about. That's what gets us the clips. But it's got to be in academics and it's got to be in admin as well. It can't just be one facet of it. You you do the same thing over all of it, and then it's going to elevate the university to levels that you can never imagine. But there's a saying in history, and this is it. If history repeats itself, and if you don't change it, you're doomed to repeat it. My mother went to FAM in the 80s. And I'm sure people had this in the 60s and 70s. They had issues with financial aid, people getting paid, doing stuff in the 80s. Then my mom worked at athletics in the early 2000s. And kids would scholarship checks was bouncing. Things like this was happening. She's like, and when it came down time to me to like start looking at schools, as proud as she was to go to FAMU, she told me, and this is what I tell people, y'all got to stop telling these kids they got to make decisions when we don't have the infrastructure and we haven't honored those who are there yet. She said, I can't send my kid, but I brought you in this world to make this world better than what it was given to me. I can't put my child into a situation and go through the same struggles that I went through in the 80s. That makes absolutely no sense. And that's an alarm.
1 year with that. And I used to work in financial aid at Florida State. We had 1 year where the students had lines. I hadn't seen it happen since.
Man, and then like even with that, like Florida State, I had to go tell these jits at Florida State. They're like, man, you gotta have a friend of financial aid. So I gave them a friend of financial aid at Florida State, knew a lady who was there, been there since I was there. I said, did y'all know you can get a loan on your money? They was like, what you mean you can get a loan on your money? I said, when you're broke and you're in that rough time, if you have a financial aid package, they'll give you $1,000. It's gonna charge you $10, but they'll give you $1,000. Go to talk to woo woo woo. Man, I don't even know. I don't think that's at FAMU, but it's people who didn't get their net check until like the middle of the damn semester, and that's a long time to go without no money when you are, again, just like it happens at Florida State, happens at every university. When you're the first person, when you're coming from poverty, like you need just simple things, and that's just one thing. And again, and then you're getting kicked out of classes because the class isn't paid, and one department's not talking to the other department, because that should be as simple as financial aid hasn't dropped. So that's why he hasn't paid yet. So we're going to keep you in until the financial aid drops. But you're going through undue stress and, struggle. You have your own struggles, but that shouldn't be the part of that's not the black experience isn't struggling. The black experience is excellence. And we should command excellence out of everybody who is that, but we should command excellence out of those who are in charge of us. And again, all that comes down to is doing right by people, supporting each other, and building a brand that's more than just colors and wearing a cool ass T-shirt, and then watching the band shake and gyrate in Paris and stuff like that. You got to be proud of them You got to be proud of them fiscally, physically, and emotionally. So again, I always tell people, time, talent, treasure. If you, those are the three things that you can always, anything that you're passionate about, you should be able, I should be able to look at it and see it through your time, talent, and treasure. Doesn't mean you're giving millions. It means you're giving something.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's again your time and your talent is just as simple as your resources or what you're good at. Like, it's a network and it's a connection. And I'll say
I
this last
agree.
thing too with the NIL. If nothing else, if you can't get these guys the money, we got to get these kids jobs. As many
Yes.
good alumni, because again, it's NIL is bigger than that. I had a kid who went to Notre Dame, and he told me the cool thing about going to Notre Dame is that he knew when he was done with football, he was going to have a job no matter what, because Notre Dame network is crazy like that. So why isn't why a FAMU football player should say, I know when I'm done in the field, if I graduate, the field of study I have, I know that there's a 75% chance I'll get a
Yeah.
job for 2 years out of that.
Yeah. We saw that with Bishop Bonnet. As soon as he construction right out the gate.
I mean, you
Yeah.
got a guy, and the cool thing I say this is, and they made some, not enough was made, but a FAMU alum is who's doing the construction of the stadium. But imagine you
Mhm.
doing that, and hey man, we got you for a couple years. We're gonna help you develop it, and you do your 2 years. You learn your business, learn your trade. You can go flourish on your own, or go do something else. And I'm not just talking about FAMU. Point out, I tell Florida State the same thing because we got the same
Yeah.
issue. So, but internships, speaker. We just had a speaker series this past weekend over in Tallahassee, and guys coming back talking to them about how to accounting, how to carry yourself, how to do some certain things, and so those are all things. Again, it's a full scale approach that people need to take on with these athletes, and it's all around mentorship, apprenticeship, and again, making the next generation more stable than we were. And I'm passionate about the game of football, playing it, but I'm more passionate about building strong men. It's easier to build a strong man than to rehab one. It's
This
easier
is
to
true.
build a strong woman than to rehab one. So if we give them the hope, we give them the opportunities, and it's going to be stressful because again, and I say this with all the love intended, they're stupid, but so is I. I, I,
Yeah. That's
I
all
say,
of us though. All of us when
you,
we're young.
you know what my grandmama tells me right now? She tells me I'm stupid now, and when I'm her age, you know what I'm gonna say about my son when he's my age
He's
is that you
stupid.
stupid. It's like as smart as you are, but it's not so much that you're stupid. You're just ignorant to what you don't know, and you don't. And I don't have anybody. I didn't have anybody guiding me. So again,
Right.
like I talked to you about hopping on your pod, I'll hop on whatever. But I didn't have nobody guiding me. So if a kid asked me for some guidance, who am I to tell him no when I wish I could have had that same guidance, or I can remember somebody showing me a better way. But it's really we've one of the things with smart people is sometimes we're so stupid. We're so smart that we're stupid is that we've overcomplicated things. Meet a need and help them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing again. And it's all about it, and all of it is a pride thing to the university. And if FAMU did so much for some of y'all, you owe it to that next generation to make it easy, make the path easier for them so that they can flourish, and then they'll owe it to the generation after them to make it easier for them. And then we'll have then homecoming really will be lit. Because now people
It's
ain't got a fake stunt, everybody gonna stunt for real.
it's gonna be nice.
Right, man. So my bad.
Man,
I
before you
don't even
go
know if
though,
any of
man,
this. I don't even know if
because
any of
I
this
know you
what you
said you
want to
got an
talk about.
interview coming. Um, well, you got to go to news soon, right?
Yeah.
So, how do we support your NIL? Because I'm looking at we close approaching 10:30. I don't know what time your interview starts. I don't want you
Right.
to run over their time, but what time? How do we help you with the NIL and Isaiah with the NIL, and how do we help this grow? Because this is a great conversation. I'm definitely going to invite you back.
So the
Just know.
first thing is very simple thing. So if you're on social media, you must follow. So follow Isaiah Land. He's got Twitter. He's got Instagram, so follow those. If you go to Den Media Group, that's where we'll be. So right now we have, again, it's 5 minutes of Isaiah, Coach Devin Respress, who's doing a very good job with recruiting at FAMU, helping them, again, taking the PWI mentality and bringing it to an HBCU in the best possible way. You go and you follow. You just click it, man. It's 5 minutes. Even if you just, you know what, push it, go to the bathroom. Do that every day. But I'm just saying, or do it, and then what you do is, if you, and then get the kid who shot the video. He shot the Kalen Deloach one, is Kalen Deloach one. His name is Caleb, and Caleb goes to FAMU. He's interning with me. So again, that's a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of support in that. But what you do is you click on that, you get that going, and then from there, when you see something and you subscribe, right? You subscribe and click the notification, and weekly we're gonna upload stuff on there. So then you just watch it, and then what happens is that money the more money we make for that, the more money we can have in the coffers to be able to pay these guys to be able to do that. So if we make, enough to cover one guy's expense, now we can go talk to another kid. Like, you got to transfer Kobe Gross, who came from Florida State. You got an offensive tackle that from Loudoun County that just got the big kid. I saw him on Friday night. You have stuff like this, so that's the biggest thing, and that doesn't cost you anything but a tap of your index finger, like, or your thumb, like, it doesn't, and to share it with your crew. And I think once you start doing these things, it encourages these kids to continue to do the stuff, because we're going to talk about, again, the off-season process. He's going to SWAC Media Days. We're going to do some coverage during fall camp so that you can see what it's like. We're going to try to get some unique coverage with the Jackson State game. And we also got him in this weird space that a lot of people are afraid of. It's called the metaverse. So he's got a crib in the metaverse that we're going to start. We're going to have a unique experience for fans to come with him while he's on the road. So it'll be Thursday. If you got your Oculus goggles, you throw your Oculuses on, and it'll almost be like y'all and Isaiah are kicking it at his crib while he's doing some of those things. So again, and then we'll also record those things and we'll put them on there, so you have a chance to ask questions. You have a chance to do a lot of different stuff, man. But all those, now that will cost, but most of this stuff is free, man. Just watching it, engaging it, and loving the content, supporting it, making comments, telling us what you would like to see. What do you want to know? And outside of, and those are the things you do outside of checks. But if you have a business, let's talk. Because because again, as I've spoke to Isaiah, it's just not this isn't free. We're not giving you anything. You're earning this. So like you have, and I'm in marketing, so I do this. So this is what I do for myself. So if you have a business, you're like, well, man, I have I don't know, the easiest one. I don't like this stuff, but I have a t-shirt design company. You have a t-shirt design company. You want to do a specific line for them. Okay, well, cool. We're not finna go out here and hope you sell 1,000 t-shirts. What we're going to do is we're going to negotiate a price. You're going to pay us for the name, image, and likeness, and he's going to support it. He's going to put it out. You're going to see X amount. Because what happens too, so for people who don't know, the fail-safes with NIL is there has to be a clear ask and a clear give. And you don't give the money until the ask don't come until the give is fulfilled. Mm-hmm. So let's say you, with Fangs Up, say, I want to get Isaiah once a week for 4 weeks. You're paying Coleman Management Group to make sure that Isaiah's ass is here at whatever time that he's here. And then when he fulfills his agreement, the money's already sitting there. Isaiah gets paid, and then we, however long the contract is, we continue to do that. So, I mean, those are the things that, again, let's get creative. Let's get unique. Let's be outside the box. Like, and even when I just said such a standard marketing deal, like, man, We ain't finna put them in a Kodak Black costume and come to your kid's birthday party. But like, if you got a Pop Warner team and y'all need somebody to speak, man, and you want to give a little bit of bread to have them come, like, let's do it. If you got you got a kid that man, it'd be dope to have a kid like, even though he ended up getting in trouble with Travis Rudolph, what he did for this kid who was autistic, who was sitting by himself at lunch, just going and eating with that kid. Man, that changed that kid's whole trajectory of his life. If you got one of these, if you have a cause that's really dope, that's rooted to these, that's close to these kids, let's get them in there. He gonna be at my football camp August 7th. Giving back to the community. I'm gonna make them do that. I would make them come to my book bag drive, but they're gonna be practicing, so they're gonna get out of that one. But like, we're gonna get out here and because all this stuff is building this image as well. Because you get drafted for what you do on the field, but you get kept for what you do off the field sometimes. And again, my bad. I want to preface this too. So the reason why I want them to go viral, not just to get paid. So this is really what it comes down to. FAMU only plays so many nationally televised games. They'll play against North Carolina. I love y'all. You're probably not going to win that one. It's going to be a tough one. Do you play against Jackson State? That's going to be nationally televised. So one is going to see possibly a slaughter. The other one is going to be a win. And then after that, you don't know when you're going to be on TV again. But if he's going viral every week, his profile is up there. So the NFL will see him. It increases the likelihood it's not the reason he's going to get drafted. It just helps with him getting drafted. So, and then, guys like, and then another thing too, he's not even here, but like Marquise Bell, y'all need to go, like, every time. There's been some damn good articles written about him. So I don't know how well they're doing, but you need people to know that y'all got a guy who's going to probably make the Cowboys squad. And again, so like, and a lot of people were fearful that maybe I can't do it at an HBCU because he had a high grade and he didn't get drafted. Now, there's reasons probably why, but nobody really going into all of that. We just know he didn't get drafted. But again, let's not make the same mistake, because if this kid does what he just did last year, it'll be a little bit tougher because people are going to be looking at him. But if he balls out, he's going to have another year where he could potentially be the back-to-back defending player of the year.
Winner. And he reminds me of your boy Telvin Smith, like body type wise.
Very much so. He's got a thin frame. He's very explosive. Uses his hands well, and again, very good with kids. Again, go watch that interview. You gotta watch the thing. And my kids,
they did
well. My son asked him some tough questions. That 9-year-old does not. Second. You said what?
The kid caught him off guard. He didn't expect that type of question.
Yeah, they gonna come. But actually, I think you almost sized him for a second. He said, "Do you even want to go to the NFL?" I was like, "That's not how you. It's not, son. It's not what's supposed to happen. Like, you don't talk to people that are bigger than you like this. Like your dad will fight and defend you, but I ain't got it in me like that no more. I'm washed. I'm washed. But but again, like." There's content that we're gonna have that's dope. I would love for you to support all the content, please do. But I will have, but in particular, support his stuff. The video, if you go to sportsden_live, it's in there somewhere in our videos. But we have the media there where you can watch the entire video on Twitter. If you don't want to go to YouTube, I prefer you go to YouTube. But it's there. So that's just, and again, like I said, you're supporting FAMU athletics, FAMU, Isaiah, a kid, Caleb, who's going to be a superstar in that field, because he did some really good edits on that. So you're supporting alumni. I mean, that's that NIL thing that we're doing over here with these guys, just like my Florida State one. Everybody who's associated with Micanopy 1851 is a Florida State grad. So what we're gonna do over here with the FAMU one is I'm gonna have as many FAMU people associated with it as possible. And my guys with Micanopy, they love FAMU too. So anything that we got over here, y'all got access to. The times where, and I'll close with this. There really was, like, I'm a history guy. We only been integrated over in Tallahassee for 60 years. So I'm with it. I didn't get recruited by FAMU anyway, so I would have thought about it. I talked to Charlie Hunt, who was one of the first African American football players to play at Florida State in '69. He said FAMU didn't offer him either. He wanted to go to FAMU. Stuff
Oh, wow.
happens. It is what it is. Doesn't lack the love though. There was racism. There still is racism, but you can't get. But you got to acknowledge the elephant in the room. We see it. Okay, it's there. Don't, and that's an aspect of it, but that's not the aspect of it. It's business now. Don't get caught up in trying to cry because something's happening and then lose it all because you weren't able to work the system to where it is. You got one of the best things of the civil rights movement is that they made it blatant. Nah, they have the same rights as we, but we're not bothered. If you don't do anything, then nobody. If they were dressed better, these men were in suits walking and getting their behinds whooped. But they did it on national TV so that people can no longer say that it didn't happen. So I'm not telling you that if we do this and we build this great, that they won't come crashing. History tells us that you got Tulsa, Oklahoma, you got Black Wall Streets everywhere. But that don't mean you got to be scared to not do it. You still got to do it. Eventually, somebody's got to be courageous enough to be able to step out and go and do it. And if you're not courageous enough to step out and help these young people, why you expect these young people to go out and be courageous for you? So again, I say it's business. Gain Street, College Town. I grew up in Tallahassee. That was dilapidated warehouses when I grew up. That was a terrible place. Nobody wanted to go through there. It looked awful. FAMU could have bought up Gain Street the same way FSU Boosters bought up Gain Street. But you saw dilapidated buildings. They saw housing. 20 years ago, like when I went to Florida State, they told us that in 1980, we made a concentrated effort to make Doak Campbell Stadium the center of campus and to build the university through athletics. And everything that they're doing, when you know that, everything they're doing is systematic. We control every aspect of the college game day experience. Where you park, the sausage man ain't going over the dope unless you're paying about $2,000 for that permit. Now he'll make it. I love it. One of the dopest experiences at FAMU or any black college is go buy the. I know this is more expensive now, but I remember when I was a kid, you get the 5 for 20 t-shirts. Them was the coolest t-shirts. You ain't doing that at Florida State. They selling t-shirts within a 10-mile radius of that campus. Best believe they have a licensing deal, or Florida State's getting a cut of that. So again, it's business. So when I say these things, what are you doing to protect yourself from the business side to take that excuse away? Yes, you're not going to get as much money in the legislature. I get it. Fine, you're right. I can see. But what are you going to? But that's not a new issue. The Black Panthers, like we wouldn't get WIC and all this stuff started because the Black Panthers, people weren't getting fed in the hood. They decided that they wanted to do it, and they put their pennies together and made sure that the youth were good. Mm-hmm. You set it up, and then you flourish from there. And then you make somebody come and stop you. But I think in this day and age, what you'll find is that if you go out here and you start doing it, and you're being effective, and there's a plan, and you're really pouring, it won't stop. And you do have an opportunity to go and get this next generation of young kids. But you got to give them more than saying, y'all should just do it. It's not business savvy. You have to give them a business reason into why they should just do it. And I really believe that if you show them, and again, Micanopy 1851, you're leveraging your 4 years to your next 40. How you show the future what you're going to do them is how you treat the past and the present. So right now you have opportunity to build up this present with the people who came in the past. And it ain't got to be everyone. You just really show them a couple of examples. We show the success, and then we knock it out the park. And the next thing you know, you will have guys starting to put you in the top 10. You will have guys starting to consider you to come to a homecoming game on a visit to give you more visibility. But if you're just sitting around praying that these guys are going to come, I'm going to tell you it's not going to work. I wouldn't do it to my son, but I can tell you this: if we have a history of showing that boom, okay, this kid was able to make $60,000 on a college campus. This kid was able to make 75. Oh wow, we got $150,000 kid, and we have the whole offensive line was able to make $300 and go to smoothie time every week to go be able to get them this. So this kid was able to go. If you're able to show that these things are being able to done, and we have some creative marketing now, the coaches can't do anything, but the coaches can. But the coaches can regurgitate. They just
Right.
can't facilitate the deals right now. But what they can do is say, this is the deal that the kid has. But y'all got to be involved in that. So I mean, that's a long way to say I love FAMU and I want FAMU to be as successful. I love HBCUs. I believe that they're important. You know, we weren't without HBCUs. My mother wouldn't have the education that she had. And you know, when people say why I got to be a black college, well, you know, I tell them very candidly that your mama and papa didn't want my mama to go to school with your daddy and your mama, so that's part of the reason why. The people that you love and you like going to Sunday dinner that you think of your deacons are so great was racist as hell and threw a hissy fit when somebody drank out of the same fountain as they drank out of. It is what it is. We'd all be in the same schools if they'd just let us, but they didn't. So, and you can't just sprinkle magic pixie dust and say, now we can all go to school together, so you need to evaporate. It doesn't work like that. But you guys have a rich history. It should be honored, but you have to honor it first. If you don't care, why should other people care? And what I mean by that, you don't go back, you don't want to invest time, talent, treasure. You don't do any of those things. Why? I care because I grew up. Like I said, I'm different. You ain't gonna find very many guys like me. Like half of y'all don't. That's probably gonna listen to this. Don't even know what the hell Pocahontas Village is. So, because I don't even think it's there anymore.
No,
But
I think they tore it down a few years ago.
yeah. So you don't know about was it was it Gibbs? What was one of them halls? Like one of them all play. Anyway, it's dorms that I remember that I've stayed
That ain't
in
there no more.
camp that ain't even there no more. So like, you know, you're not gonna find very many people like me, but you can find people like me who will be sympathetic to your cause when they see how much pride and see how you're always going back. And my bad. And this is last year. So Morehouse, I took a visit to Morehouse College. My last official visit that I had in high school. And this is why I went to Morehouse. My doctor is Sias Lee, in Tallahassee, Florida, black doctor. He was amazing, amazing man. Might have messed up because his daughter was fine as wine. He used to always tell me, I gotta get you with my daughter. And I was like, Dr. Lee's, you know, it's a great man, just wasn't answering me. And I'm like, I'm not finna date nobody that looked like you. And then one day, years later, I saw his daughter. I was like, that's Dr. Lee's daughter? Like, God, I might should have took Dr. Lee on that. But I joke all that to say he was a great, tremendous influence in my life. He said, I want you to go to Morehouse. Go just check it out for me. I went off of the strength of what he said and everything that he talked to me about in the years of being my doctor in high school. Because when I left pediatrics, I went to whatever. I went to him. He talked about being a Morehouse man and this and that, and I saw how he moved. He gave back to his university. He went to Spellhouse Homecoming. You know, he talked about these different things, and he was not just proud of it. He embodied it. He did everything else. It made me want to go, at least check it out. And what I say that is that if you're, and again, the Herb Baileys, the Mike Smiths, these men who influenced me are why I love FAMU. And I just happen to be birthed there. But like if you're like those men or women, you know, do your own, add your own stuff to it. You're going to make people want to go to the HBCUs. But what happens is there's people who wouldn't know you went unless they read your resume. Or until you say, oh, Will Packard is here. Okay, he went to FAM, I went to FAM. I done known you 20 years and I never knew what college you went to.
Right.
Again, that's a problem. Time, talent, treasure, man. Y'all take that for what it is, man. Love it. I hope I hope it gets big. And there's other things I think can do to build it up, but I do know this. They need more exposure. If you're not following fifth quarter FAMU, if you're not following the HBCU game days, if you're not doing these other things and retweeting and showing people about the Black experience, then you're just as again, you're still not doing enough. Why would ABC? Why would ESPN? Why would all these other people pick this up if you don't care nothing about it? But they will pick it up if you care enough about it. And instead of trying to do that, you need to be asking Puffy why it's not on Revolt TV.
Man, you said something.
Right.
It
So
would
I
it
mean
would be
that's
great if
a
yeah.
black TV station. Imagine that, a black TV station showing HBCU ball. That's wild. That's a wild concept. But again, I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of these things. But we'll be on here for 5 hours.
Well, I'm gonna let it close out there, man. I personally want to thank you. I appreciate you coming through. And honestly, I'm not even gonna do like a. I'm just gonna download this. I'm gonna send you a copy as well. As just my custom. I believe people should be
Please
able to
do.
review their work, and just in case. But I'm also gonna upload it onto the my podcast, and I welcome you to do the same, man. I appreciate you for coming through and charging the not robbery to share your time with me, good brother.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. Let me go be a dad and put these kids to sleep, man. But appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, man. Thank y'all. I always wait. This is Fangs Up.